Joining us now is Steve Berman, beat writer for The Athletic. And Steve, congratulations on the new gig.
Thank you very much, Dennis. Thanks for having me on, too.
So, hey, the Bay Bridge series sort of lived up to the hype, right? The A's lost 2 out of 3, but they outscored the Giants 11-10. What's your take on the series on both teams after the Bay Bridge series?
Well, first of all, yeah, it really did live up to the hype because it felt like a postseason series almost. It was the first time that we had full capacity at Oracle Park. So the energy, you could tell right from the very beginning, was different than we felt for, not just, a year and a half or whatever, but also, the Giants weren't very good before 2020. So it's been a while since Oracle Park has been rocking like that.
So I'm going to get a little bit ahead of myself here. Is it possible that we witnessed a World Series preview?
It's definitely possible. I think both teams are going to be pretty active around the deadline. The Giants have the best record in baseball, even with the loss today. It's, I think, the best record they've had at this point since 1993. And the A's always seem to get to the postseason somehow. It's just, can they advance past the wild card or the first round? The Giants, on the other hand, when they've gotten to the postseason in the recent past or semi-recent past, they've gotten all the way to the dance. So it's definitely possible. So maybe, re-up that earthquake insurance.
Who would have thought that in spring training? Maybe for the A's, definitely not for the Giants, right?
Definitely not for the Giants. I think the Giants over-under was like 75 wins this year.
Yeah, A's fans have gotten used to Chris Bassett being the stopper. Today, it was Cole Irvin. Came out really aggressive against the Giants hitters. Why was Cole so good, so effective today?
Well, Cole Irvin has one of the lowest walk rates in all of the American League. I think only Garrett Cole and Ryan Yarbrough are the only ones that have a little bit better than he does. And he walked 2 guys in 8 innings, which actually raised his walk rate, if you could believe that. He's just always around the zone. And the Giants this year have just been killing starting pitchers because they're so patient. They wear them down. Then they get into bullpens, and that's how they've been winning games. Cole Irvin was able to keep his pitch count super low because he was always around the zone. The Giants started getting aggressive as the game went on. That kind of played into Irvin's hands. And he became the second pitcher all year to go 8 innings against the Giants. The other guy was Joe Ross back on June 13th. When the Giants couldn't hit a lick in D.C.
But by the way, Irvin cast considerations back in January, I think. That's a steal of a deal for the A's.
Absolutely. Irvin, I think, pitched 3 times last year in a relief role for the Phillies. Not too heralded. He actually came up when Gabe Kapler was the manager. So, yeah, no one really even expected him to get a starting spot out of spring training. They were hoping it would be A.J. Puck. They thought maybe Dalton Jeffries, maybe James Caprillion, who ended up getting a starting role. But Cole Irvin was so good in spring training, they kept him into the rotation, and he's not left since. And obviously right now it looks like he's going to be there for the long haul.
Hey, Matt Chapman is apparently found his hitting stroke, 15-game hitting streak. Is Chapman doing something different than he did at the opening of the season?
A little while ago when this hot streak kind of started, he said that he finally is starting to trust his hip that he had surgically repaired last season. So he actually has talked to a lot of guys who've had the same procedure, including Buster Posey. And guys have told him that that they felt like they weren't even in their own body because it just felt so weird. They had to get used to feeling differently than they were before. And because you start overcompensating when you had that hip problem. So at the beginning of the year, he wasn't really confident in it. And so he was just kind of arm swinging, getting into some bad habits, the same bad habits that he had last season. So now he's finally feeling comfortable. And you saw that last night when he drove that pitch into the arcade down the down the right field line, which is something that, just a handful of right-handed hitters have ever done at Oracle Park.
So, Steve, last night the A's bullpen blew 2 late leads. Would you say the A's, if they needed anything, need help in the bullpen, and do you expect them to pursue that?
Absolutely, yes. I think they definitely will pursue that. They might actually pursue another bat, too, with Canna being hurt recently. Just went on the IL. Stephen Piscotty's dealing with a wrist injury, but the bullpen for sure. And they're also hoping that Trevor Rosenthal, the guy who can throw 100 miles an hour, they thought was going to be the closer to replace Liam Hendricks, they think actually, even though he went thoracic outlet surgery on his shoulder, that it might not be a season-ending thing, and he's going to start doing baseball activities hopefully pretty soon here.
Okay, now that you're the A's beat writer officially, where are you on the Howard Terminal project?
I actually have written a few things about the Howard Terminal project. I've had to learn a lot about city government and environmental toxicology and soil and things like that I never thought I'd have to learn about. It's really interesting. The A's are pushing for it right now. They want the votes to happen as soon as possible. Both the city of Oakland and Alameda haven't said no, but they're both sort of pushing back, saying we need a little bit more time to review these things. There's a lot going into this project, very complicated. The A's say it's the only way that they can stay in Oakland, and we'll see if that's actually what comes to pass.
So what concerns me, or A's fans, it should concern them, the longer this drags out, the more delays, the more setbacks, another team like Vegas will eventually come up with an offer the A's can't refuse.
I don't know how legit it is that Las Vegas wants them to be there, but the A's are trying to drum up some sort of competition here, and it's more of a sense of urgency for the city of Oakland. But there's other sites too that have been talked about. Portland, Oregon, even places like Nashville and Montreal, San Antonio. I don't know how realistic any of these places are. Charlotte, but what the A's want to do here is say, all right, we've been waiting on this for so long. They've had how many different plans that they've tried to put forward. I mean, they tried to go to San Jose, they tried to go Fremont, they tried to use the Laney College site. And all of those fell flat. This is the one they say is the one they need to be able to compete in this market. And right now, everything's in the balance. So if you're an A's fan and you want them to stay in Oakland, you're hoping the Howard Terminal thing passes. But these things, and Dennis, you've been here a long time. In the Bay Area, it's tough to get a stadium built.
Steve, again, congratulations. Great writer, great guy for The Athletic. I appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me on, Dennis.